Hey guys, um, the Dark Below DLC is coming on Tuesday, and I've been talking to a lot of my friends about it, and there's a lot of, it's kind of polarizing, really, what people are thinking. So I'll start by talking about the DLC itself, and then kind of what the patches have been doing and so forth. So the DLC Dark Below, with the people that have gotten early access, the big concern has been what's this going to do for storytelling, because a lot of people felt that the storytelling in the main game was lacking. And I gotta admit, that is true. I liked the side effect of that, that you get to tell your own story. And I knew enough about the lore to be able to tell that story effectively to somebody else. But a deeper legend and a deeper background, a more rich history, would definitely benefit the franchise moving forward. And from what I've read from people that have gotten the early access, that seems to be the case. That I looked at the trailer for the story, um, and it already has me pretty well hooked. So as long as that story is well developed and hopefully intertwined more so with gameplay than just cutscenes, like I think that's where my head's at. Like I don't want lengthy movies or whatever. At least not while we still can't skip them. So, but I think that if the story is fleshed out as much as it appears to have been thought out, I think we're going to be just fine there. Um, PlayStation owners, of course, are going to get one more strike and one more story mission or two more story missions, some different multiplayer maps, additional multiplayer maps, and additional weapons that remain exclusive to the PlayStation platform until at least quarter 3 of next year. Um, if I were an Xbox owner, I can tell you that I'd be a little bit upset by that. However, this was made clear a year before the game's release, before the consoles even released. So people had, if they knew that Destiny was going to be their franchise of choice this generation, um, they had a choice to make. And if they chose Xbox One over the PS4, they knew this was going to happen. That's why I have no sympathy for the folks that are complaining about the exclusivity of the DLC. I'm not a huge fan of exclusiveness, I guess. I can't say exclusivity because I'm putting extra letters in it right now. I only had a little bit of caffeine, but I'm not a fan of it in general. First party stuff is one thing, but third party exclusive stuff really kind of gets my goat in this generation, because this generation you've got a shared x86 architecture across PC gaming, Xbox One, and PS4. Cross development has never been easier, and with overhead being as high as it is in the software development industry, and profit being as low as they are, because think about it. When's the last time that you paid more than $60 for a basic version of a game? Paid more than that, you know what I'm saying? Because games were 50, $60 in the 80s, and they're still 50, $60. Inflation's a thing, guys. So, companies have, it costs more to make games, and they make less when they sell them. So, cross-platform development with, DLC and the games really makes more sense to me. So, I'm really going to be talking mainly about the idea, from my perspective, of the PS4, because to me that's the full version of the expansion. Having two strikes, a raid, a bunch of story missions, and all the weapons and armor that they're talking about, I think is a great idea. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's a good deal, especially given that the story is supposedly very good. So I'm very happy about that. Now, prior to the expansion, to make way for a lot of the changes that are in there, Bungie did a huge update, the majority of it very welcome. And let me rephrase, I think it's all welcome changes. I think there are just maybe some things that are missing that people are concerned about. So now you can upgrade exotic weapons and exotic armor with some vintage Azure and things like that. Um, Not only from the standpoint of your final upgrade is easier to attain because you can just buy the material now, on all the material really. So instead of farming for stuff mindlessly, you can now actually go so far as to actually play the game, earn the Crucible or Vanguard marks, or either or. You choose how you pay for this stuff. You can buy those materials, and then from Zor you pay strange coins for the final upgrade material for the last piece to fully upgrade your weapon. So That's great. So you can do that. You can upgrade your weapons that way. And I can tell you that yesterday I upgraded more weapons than I've ever upgraded before because I had the ability to just get the materials. And it made the game infinitely more playable, more fun. It felt great. Now, beyond that, with exotic armor and exotic weapons, you will have the ability, as of the Dark Below, to up their level completely. Just kind of start from scratch, but they're higher level. So, just as an example, I don't know if these are the actual numbers. Right now, the max level is 300 for attack on a weapon. So, with the Cyros regime, um, the way it was pitched to me was, what would you do if you lost all of your attributes, but when you upgraded, it started at 300 and went to, like, say, 350? Um, I've got to be honest with you, I would probably not be doing that right away because the attributes of the Suros at 300 make it a really great weapon. Um, so I'd probably end up wanting to get a second Suros regime to upgrade and then flip flop them. You know what I mean? Like have everything there. So I'm not cheesed about the idea, but I'm glad that it's there because eventually, and this is the concern I'm hearing, is that your weapons will become obsolete if you don't level them up. Here's the problem with that. Some of the most compelling weapons in the game for many of us are legendary weapons, not exotic. A buddy of mine uses a scout rifle religiously, and the scout rifle that he's using um, is very unique. The exotic scout rifle doesn't even come close. So the real question becomes, are we going to be able to upgrade those? Are they, you know, what's happening there? Like we're being forced into new weaponry that we don't necessarily want, and that's a controversy that I'm seeing by and large in the game. It's a real concern, um, being that a lot of us have built up armories around legendary weapons, and when we consider that, you can't level those up, you can't change their cap, you can't turn them in for the same thing. Granted, there's going to be a thing you can do where you turn in the exotic weapon and you start it from scratch and you change its attributes out. Well, if you already don't like the stats on a weapon, changing the attributes won't help that much. And I shouldn't have to play Russian roulette to get a weapon that I like. Um, so unless there's the exact same legendary weapons moving forward with just higher levels, I'm not sure it's going to be a successful thing. So I hope that Bungie is smart enough to take on this consumer feedback and enable us to keep the armory that we want. I'm concerned that they will not. So, what do you guys think about this? I mean, we've got made some huge strides since the launch of the game as far as how it is played, how you get materials and things like that. But what's next? What do we need? Do we need to be able to upgrade existing legendaries, or should we be able to use that legendary to create a weapon, an exotic, or whatever the case may be? That would be great to take the legendary weapon and use it to create something. It'd probably be pretty expensive to do that, but at least it would be something, an alternative, instead of just being forced into the weapons that we've got now. Most of the weapons and armor that I use now are exotic, so this doesn't affect me yet for the most part, except when you talk about my shotguns. I love my shotguns. But the people that use legendary weapons more so than they do exotics and have worked their tails off for hours upon hours upon hours to get them upgraded, this is going to affect them. And I understand why they're upset. So, what do you guys think? Is all this change bad? Was the original game the way to go? Is all this change great and you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about? Or are you more like me where you're in the middle where a lot of this is good, some of this is concerning, and some of it is bad? Let me know below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And as always, keep on grinding. Cheers.